Thank you, Taxmann. Of course, as my partner Abhishek Shah was not available today due to his medical emergency, that's why I'm conducting this session. So let's go on with the session. So everyone must be knowing this agenda. So let's start with the basics of the reassessments that in which section and how the notice should be sent to the assessees and what are the provisions guiding the whole reassessment procedures. So, in reassessment procedures, everyone must be knowing that it is conducted under 147. Okay, the veterans, the experienced persons here must be knowing that earlier 147 used to be a detailed provision. Okay, and now in the after changes of this 147, it is now only two subsections in it. Okay, which says that the the reassessment should be carried out with the provisions of 148 and 148 to 153. And the other subsection this says that if during the reassessment the AO gets any new information and during the assessment he can take up that issue and go on with the issue and go on assessing that new issue without even following other uh, procedures that are required from 148 to 153. He should not, for example, if I can give you an example, the AO while assessing issue, okay, he get some new information that this type of income is also being escaped by the assessee. Then he should not follow the assessing officer will not follow all the procedures that to ask the assessee that whether should I reopen or not. He should not take the previous approvals from the specified authority that we will discuss in the letter. But he will not follow the whole procedure, but he will only start assessing that issue during the course of proceedings. Okay, moving forward, that what will be the timeline of that or the time limit which is required to comply and to reopen the reassessment. Okay, so earlier it used to be everyone must be knowing if that earlier used to be 4 years and 6 years. Now it is 3 years from the relevant assessment year, where income is less than 50 lakhs, where the income escaped is less than 50 lakhs. But in the current scenario, if 3 years has been completed, 3 years period has been expired, after that also assessing officer can reopen the case. But the only condition is that up to 10 years he can reopen the case. But only condition is that the 50 lakhs limit should not be crossed. Okay, sorry, should be crossed, and he can then reopen the case. He has the information that the income has been escaped is 50 lakhs rupees. Okay, then only beyond 3 years he can reopen the case. Okay, now coming to the 148A, this is the procedure where under this 148A, the AO will reopen the case, and AO will reopen the case while following this procedure. He will first earlier this there was not this procedure. Okay, 148 was not 148A was not there earlier. AO if AO has some information and he has reason to believe that I want that this income has been escaped, then AO will directly reopen the case, and then assessee used to ask the AO that what are the reasons, please give us the reason, then we will explain you this information. Okay, but now the provision has been changed because there was a lot of litigation going on and there was no transparency between the government and the assessee. Okay, so the government introduced this new section 148A after in 2021, that AO has to firstly give the assessee an opportunity that why on this basis of the information why this case should not be reopened. Okay, assessee will reply, and if the officer is not of the view that he is not satisfied by the reply of the assessee, then he will reopen the case. Okay, on the basis of the record available with him. So that's what I said, that why this is implemented. 148 was introduced because there was many disputes which was going on between department and the assessees and taxpayers. That's why this new section came. Okay, so if we compare these procedures, so there was earlier there was not this procedure where AO will firstly ask the assessee whether this information is correct or not, whether the information on which AO want to reopen is correct or not. Then assessee will give the information. He will give the evidences to the AO that why the reopen the case should one or not be reopened. Okay. Earlier there was not approval. There was not some mandatory approval required. Okay. Now the approval is required from the specified authority, and also there are compliance that if it is more than 3 years, then uh, s- uh, it is required. Okay. And if it is less than 3 years, then it is required from this specified authority. Okay. Yes. So these are the differences. And before, as I told you earlier, that before section 147 was a detailed section where whole procedure was written to conduct the assessment under section 147, where it was written that if the AO has reason to believe, okay, the words were reason to believe, and if he thinks that the assessee has avoided any income chargeable to tax, and then AO will directly reopen the case and without giving any opportunity to the assessee. But now, after changes, if now the words are information with the AO, we will discuss the what information will include. Okay, but I will give the examples for what the information will include. But the information, okay, earlier it used to be reasons to believe. Now it is information with the AO. Okay, the AO should have proper information on which he is trying to reopen the case, and he will ask to the assessee that whether on this information should I reopen your case or not. Okay, after taking the prior approval of the specified authority. Okay, as we discussed the information. Okay, the information under the section, the information with the AO. These words are now explained in the sections of 148 and 148A. Okay, for both the sections, this explanation is the common, and they are now. It is been said that CBDT will form a RMS strategy on which they will conduct this uh, reopening. Okay, they can also reopen on the basis of the audit objections. Okay, they are also open on the basis of the informations received under section DTAA or the treaty with the different countries. Also, information available under section 135A. Also, due to some court's decision or the tribunal's decision, AO has the information, and on that basis AO can reopen the case. Okay, so to give you a small example, recently only CBDT gave one circular that as many practitioners here, consultants here must be knowing that people are receiving some AIS, some AIS notification from the department or from the CPC that if your this type of income is not properly reported, even it is not properly reported in the proper particular item or proper area where it has to be reported, then AO or the CPC gives you a notification that this amount is not matching with your AIS. Okay, and then it is giving you a option that you file ITRU, updated return, that whether you have not, if you have not reported that income, okay, then you report this income, and then you file the ITR. Okay, and under this 135A, the CBDT have now given the circular that if AO finds any information in these things where firstly if any income was not reported, and then now the assessee is reporting this income, and some formula is given in that circular that if you are not if you are falling in that formula, and AO is thinking that yes, on this information he thinks that AO assessee has escaped some income or avoided some tax, then he will ask you for the information in this 148. Okay, so this is an example where AO can ask you for the information. So there are a few questions here on the risk management strategy also. Like it is for does info flag in RMS have to be new tangible material? The answer is no. If the info said in the that the income is escaped, then it can be used by Deo. Like if I give you an example, like if it is some information from the 26 years which was already there, it was not some new material. Okay, then also, and officer sees that assessee has not reported this income, then he has a right to ask you that whether this why this was not reported, and why your case should not be reopened. Okay, now uh, whether the RMS is defined under the law or not. Okay, it is not anywhere defined, but we believe that it is some kind of AI technology or some algorithms or the technology on which this RMS system or the strategy is being defined. Okay, the maybe with some third party information that can be used and mixed with the AI, and then be compared with the all the data which has been uploaded by the assessees. Okay, now also information that can be available to you from the 26 AS, some investigation wing, inside portal, or else from the GST department also. Many consultants here must have seen that people are getting notices or the bogus purchase notices, where here the other party must have reported in the must have surrendered the case in the GST department, that yes, I have taken this ITC as the fake ITC and everything, and corresponding to that, our assessee is getting the notices. Okay, so these are the information on which the AO can reopen the case and ask you for these things. Also, AO can also there are cases where AO will get the some wrong information. Okay, here I have a case though there where district valuation officer valued something, and on which valued and give the report to the AO, and on that basis, without applying his mind, okay, he directly reopened the case. So whether this was correct or not, the answer is no, because he has to apply his mind whether this information available to him, okay, whether in from that is it is it conclusive that assessee has escaped escaped the income. Okay, and that's why AO has to apply his mind, do the proper inquiry, and on that basis, he has to decide whether the reopening should be done or not. And directly, he should not frame his opinion on this basis, on the, whatever information he is receiving. So, information I told you here, or we discussed here, should be he should apply his own mind and then move forward to whether reopen or not. Okay, now coming to the time limits that has been changed. Okay, so this time limits I'm talking about is is being compared with the old provisions and the new provisions. Okay, so now, so what provision many people here must be doing that earlier there used to be 4 lakhs and 4 years where income is escaped, and up to 6 years also officer can reopen the case. Okay, where 1 lakh when he has a reason to believe that one income has been escaped more than 1 lakh rupees. Okay, but now the provisions are changed that if the income has been escaped for more than 50 lakhs, then only he can open up to 10 years, or else he can only open the case up to 3 years. Okay, but here is the catch. Okay, some people also must be knowing this point, that whether if, so this is the point where a proviso has been inserted in the while amending this section, that if 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 before if your case falls before 2021 and the case was not reopened either as per previous or the old law, but now if you want to open, you cannot use the extended timeline and reopen the case. Okay, so for example, if I give you here, old law was to reopen the case within 6 years. Okay, and now the extended timeline is 10 years. Okay, but so now if the assessing officer wants to reopen some case as he has a 10 years time frame, whether he can open or not, that is the question. I would like to ask people that whether it is possible or not. For example, if in the current year is that is AY 23-24, whether I can open for the case of AY 15-16. I would like to have answers from the audience whether is it possible or not. Uh, I am getting some answers. So yes, people are saying that no, it is not possible. There is one answer that yes, it is possible. Another answer is that if the income has been escaped for more than 50 lakhs, then it will be possible. Uh, okay, so I have got few answers, but I would like to say that answer is no. Okay, I would like to answer that why is it not possible? Because if if we say that AY 15-16, okay, from that 6 years would end on March 2022. Okay, if the assessing officer is not getting the case opened before this thing before March 2022, then he won't be able to open within the extended timeline. Okay, that's what this proviso says. Okay, so that's what this proviso that if he has not due to having the past the deadline stipulated in the earlier provision, okay, he cannot reopen the case now because the time of the extended limit is available. Even though 50 lakhs also is a limit, but still he cannot open because the proviso says that. So it is a taxpayer's defense that they can use if the case is now being reopened for the AY 15-16. Okay, yes. So moving forward, I'm still getting few answers. Sorry. Uh, so here also, if we move forward, and if I ask that where the 6 years are completed, okay, then whether the as per new proviso will a case can be reopened or not. For example, AY 18-19. Okay, AY 18-19, the 3 years will be completed in March 22, and it is after 2021. Okay, the 3 years are being completed after 2021. Then the AO can reopen this case up to after 10 years also, up to 10 years also. Okay, the after complying the conditions. So this is the case. Okay, so this is the great example where you can compare the provisions. Okay, that whether it should be reopened or not reopened. The thing is that here the assessee, the information was for the 60 lakhs. AO wants to reopen the case as on 17th August 2021. Okay, we have an example that, for example, it has been every year. We take an example that every year it is 60 lakhs. Then, for example, in AY 21-22, whether will it be opened for AY 10-11? The answer is no for the new provision or for the old provision also. For AY 11-12, whether is it possible or not? Okay, so the answer is as per old law, it is not possible, but only it is possible if it is reopened in the AY before completing of the AY 21-22. Then only it is possible. but but in the new law, it won't be possible. Okay, as the conclusion is that notice cannot be issued because as per the first provision, conditions are being complied, that it is within the 10 years, more than 50 lakhs also being complied. Okay, but as per the first proviso, it cannot be opened. Okay, but also in from AY 1516 to AY 2122, yes, it can be opened, as it is complying the old provisions also, new provisions also. Okay, so it is clear that the timelines also needs to be checked. So many of us, when the reopen officer is reopening the case, we always like see that what are the reasons that he is what are the reasons that he has given us to reopen the case. But then we don't check whether the officer has complied the provisions of the section or not. Okay, so also this is also a new this is also a compliance, okay, under section 151, that whether this should be done or not, whether under section 151 compliance has been done or not. If the compliance has been not done, then then assessee has the power that he can approach the officer and tell them that, yeah, this was not properly conducted by you, and please, this reopening is invalid. Okay. So we have a question here. Sorry, we have a case here where the case was totally cost because the approval from the principal CIT was not taken. Okay. So there are case laws where it is saying that the it should be reopened as per the provisions which are complied, which should be complied. Okay, now here there must be many questions there. What if when the officer is issuing the first notice, okay, and at that time we are telling him that our income is not getting exceeded, our this section is not being complied by you, but still uh, assessing officer is still not considering your reply and still reopening the case. Okay, I will. That's a good point, and I will discuss that on the later part. Because this. So now the other component that it should be reopened is that whether the income chargeable to tax has been escaped the income or not, has been the proper information. Okay, that whether the information is received by the AO has been the is the proper information, whether it is escaped and not chargeable to tax. Okay, so here is the case law where it is telling that the case laws was that assessee sold some property in AY 1617. Officer reopened the case, and assessee answered the case that my income chargeable to tax the is not more than 50 lakhs. Okay, so here the question comes is that whether the income should be considered, or whether the information, or whether the transaction the information got has been availed by the AO should be considered. Okay, though, so the case law here has says that whether if the cost is been considered in this capital gain computation, if we consider the cost, okay, that AO sold some property of the 55 lakhs, and he has the he has the cost of, for example, 20 lakhs. Now his gain comes to 33 lakhs. Okay, and that amount is not being exceeded by the 50 lakhs. And but the 3 years has been completed, and that's why the 3 years has been completed, and that's why the case should not be reopened. Okay, so this is the situation here, and but still the AO reopened the case. He did not consider the reply of the assessee under section 148A and still reopened the case. Okay, then assessing then the office sorry then the assessee moved to the then the assessee moved to then the assessee moved to the court and filed the writ, and he got the uh, then he got the favor in his favor, this ruling that he has not properly followed the properly followed the compliance of the section. As the compliance says that, as the section 48 says that, the gain, the gain is the income and not the transaction, or the not the sales consideration. So after considering the sales, the cost of the against the sales, there comes the computation that the capital gain is this much, and he should consider that amount as the income. So here question comes that what is the income chargeable to tax, and versus the income escapement. Okay, so assessee officer has to apply his mind while considering the reply of the assessee, that whether he has actually escaped the income chargeable to tax or not. Okay, so here what court has to say that capital gains. What does the section 48 says that the capital gain is the should be the income and not the sales consideration, and that's why the whole index, the cost, and should be considered while considering the AO's assessee's reply. Okay, so here the final takeaway is that 50 lakhs should be the income of the income that should have been escaped, and not the 50 lakhs should be the transaction value or the some other information on which the assessee is saying that 50 lakhs has been escaped. Okay, I'll give you another example. For example, here in this case, the officer get the information that there were some information that the assessee deposited rupees 50 lakhs in his bank account, some undisclosed cash that was being deposited in his account. Okay, but from the and the assessee replied that by while disclosing his bank statement, his books of accounts and everything, that only 19 lakhs has been deposited, and also those were also offered for the income, and that's why he has not escaped any income, and the reopening should not be done. But the AO still not heard the assessee. He was not satisfied by the case and assessee, and he still reopened the case. But the assessee moved to the same to the court, and he just a minute. I will have water. Sorry, excuse me. The officer moved to the court and the assessee moved to the court and explained that this is the situation, and that's why my case should not be reopened, and that's how the assessee got the justice. Okay, so here I'd like to now discuss few points that uh, some points regarding uh, time limits, that as I already told that AY 1516 was only being opened to up to the March 2022. Okay. Now, but up to June 2021 also, there were some ambiguity that old provisions were also allowed. Then, as per Ashish Agarwal case, Supreme Court allowed that up to June 21, the old provisions, the any notices which were issued under the old provisions will be allowed as per new provisions, and the new provisions should be compliant, and then fresh notices should be sent to the assessees. So so the period up to June 21, it was allowed. The old provisions were allowed. Okay, as per this uh, Ashish Agarwal Supreme Court case. Now the information which we talked, that what were the information that should be allowed, on which basis the officer should be reopening the case. So there are many instances that from which the assessee, so the officer can get the information. Now officers also are getting information from the CPC, that so there are many cases also that it is unjust, because the CPC just process the case and give the information to you, that whether this is the case, and you officer should reopen the case. Okay. Also some information that can be used by the AO to reopen the case. Now, the as we saw these two case laws, that what was the option available to the other option available to the assessee, that whether he can move forward move forward to the so many people know that there is a high cost for the for moving to the high court also. Okay, and that's why people not does not move to the high court. They wait for the assessee, sorry, officer to complete the case, and then they will again in the appeal. If the additions are not, if the additions are made, then in the appeal they will put up their point that this is the ground on which the whole proceedings which were conducted by the AO should be caused, and the reopening should be conducted as the invalid, because the officer did not properly heard the assessing. Okay, what we saw in these two case laws. Okay, so but now also there is some if the people must have used this panel or not, that high pitched assessment committee has been formed. Okay, it is my our firm's personal uh, experience that high pitch was newly introduced before 2 years, and there was we got some positive feedback or the positive effects on our ongoing case. Okay, we the what does the high pitch assessment says? High pitch assessment says that if there is any negligence on the part of the officer, or any hardship is faced by the or any hardship is faced by the assessee, or the officer has not heard the case properly, has not considered the submissions made by the assessee, then assessee can move to the high pitch committee. Okay, so I am giving you a way, a, a middle way to decrease your cost, and to have your proceedings get faster, because in our case there was a huge addition of 10 crores, and officer did not consider, because the it was as per the old provisions, and the assessment which was reopened was for the same issue that he already assessed or the verified the documents in the regular assessment. Assessee officer reopened the case and checks everything again, because he has some change of opinion. There was some mere change of opinion. Okay, we then of course the as we all know that officer made the addition. Okay, and did not hear the part of the assessee. Okay, now we of course we move to the appeal. We move to the commissioner of appeal that this is our case and we want to quash the reopening. Okay. Also, we also moved to the high pitch committee, and we requested them that this was the case. The case should not be was not required to be reopened, because the assessing officer has already verified all documents and already checked already these documents in the regular assessment, and that's why this should not be reopened. Here, not only this high pitch committee give us the positive response, okay, but also they uh, gave us the two better outcome of from this our request. They stayed our demand. Okay, as we all know that we have to pay 20% of the demand, and then only we can appeal the case. Okay, but here in our case, high pitch committee gave us the high pitch committee gave us that told us the officer that we should not the whole demand should be stayed. Okay, and there should not be any proceedings on the demand. Okay, also they told CIT appeal that this case should be fast forwarded and should be completed within 1 year from which the high pitched committee gave the order. Okay, so from this we can take some answer that while so we can save the cost of this not going through the normal by paying demand of 20% if the assessee has not been properly heard. Okay, like if some other example if I give you that if officer has not properly followed the approval of 151 after 3 years, he should get some higher authority approval, in under section 151 and he has not followed those approvals properly, then also he reopened the case and made addition and concluded the case. Okay. For this, of course, assessee will not pay the demand of the 20 percentage because due to the negligence of this was the negligence of the officer that he has not complied with the provision. Okay. Uh, Aside from the facts of the case that whether the income was more than 50 lakhs or not, aside from the facts that whether the information whether on the which the assessee officer opened the case, whether that was the proper information or not. But if the assessing officer has not properly followed the provisions or not complied with the provisions, of course we can move to the what people used to do, that people used to move to the courts. Okay, but there are high fees. Okay, as we all know that it includes much higher cost. Okay, the matter also takes time to get completed from the court. Okay, but now what we can do is we can move to the we can move to the this high pitch committee after the because we can move after only assessing officer completes the assessment. Okay, before that we cannot move. So for example, after the we have already made the submission that our case should not be reopened, and he has already reopened the case under section 148. At that point of time we cannot move to the high pitch committee, but while concluding the assessment, at that point of time we cannot then we can move to the high pitch committee, and then we can get high pitch committee to tell the officer that he should not do this type of activity and should stay the demand, and also our CIT appeal can be moved fast forward. Okay, so these are the remedies available to the assessees or the defense of the taxpayer, that what will happen that if the officer not hear our case and still goes with the procedure, and these are the defense of the taxpayer. Okay, and for so I will like to conclude on the part of the validity of the reassessment. Now I will like to throw some light on the merits of the case. Okay, where due to on that basis whether the so this is a whole new different topic. Okay, that whether in case of the bogus purchases, okay, whether the case should be how to represent the case so that assessees addition should not be made. Okay, so these are the list. These are the basic documents that now officer gets. That so now the officer should be getting from the assessee, that these are the information on which I am telling that my purchase was not bogus, and that's why my addition should not be made, because the general defense that is available to the assessee in case of the bogus purchases is that as I have purchased this thing, I have claimed this expense, but against my expense, I have of course offered the sales. Okay, and if I have offered the sales, then my expense that I have claimed should not be added, because the corresponding income I have already offered. So now the case comes to the point that what are the evidences available to the AO from the assessee that this sales have been offered to the tax. Okay, and that's why this type of whole documents should be submitted to the AO, that ledger confirmation from the suppliers, bank statement reflecting those entries to the supplier. Okay, then copies of the invoice of the purchase. Also, we should also submit stock of the inventory. Okay, detailed stock of the inventory, that how the stock is being maintained. Okay, also it should be matched with the tax audit report. Okay. Also, we can also give some inward registration, inward register being maintained at the premise. Also, we can give the GST data, that it has been properly reported in the GST data. Also, some GRNs that it is actually being received in my premise and not being it is not that bogus purchase. Okay, so different returns also can be given from the GST department, that is GSTR 1, GSTR 3B, okay, of the supplier and not your. So you can give your GSTR 2, that you have got this ITC is on the basis that the supplier has sold, and that's why the party is also not bogus, and your purchase is also not bogus. And also ITR of the ITR balance sheet PNL, to support that the party is also not bogus and your purchase is also not bogus. Okay, yes. So now I would like to conclude my session and open forum for the Q&A to the audience. And also, we like to share this opportunity that this is a community. There are many charters are in this group, and they raise their query and other charters solve their queries, and how this community gets run. So you can, many practitioners also here can take advantage of this group. So I will like to now uh, open forum to the audience. So the queries are, so there's one query from the Krishnamurti ji, that when the income is reported in some other head, but the notice is being received from the CPC on no income not matching with the AIS information, what action can be taken, since there will be no change in income or the tax and updated return cannot be filed? Yes, I agree with you that no updated return can be filed. But what we now need to do is that we need to, of course, we cannot change the head, we cannot revise the return. Okay, then we need to do what is that? We need to file the updated return. In that, you should change the head, and then you should increase some nominal account. Okay, some nominal amount. On that basis, you will have some tax payable, and your updated return can then that be filed. Okay, and then your information with the AS will be matching. Okay, so I think Krishnamurti ji, your answer is now, your query is being now answered. Give me a minute. So another query that we have is uh, the support for the AY 1516 issue wants to open for another reason, whether extended timeline of 10 years is available or not. Okay. Whether it can be any issue. Okay. I think it is query from the Krishnamurti ji only. The question is that support for the AY 1516 notice for a reopening was issued under section 148 on one matter. But now the AO wants to open for another reason, whether the extended timeline of the 10 years is available or not. Okay. So if I'm not wrong, if I'm getting your proper query is proper or not, if there's one case that so there's one view that if the AO is opening this new matter in the same assessment proceedings only, then AO can do it as we discussed in the first slide, as per the 147, that if he has already been proceeded with your assessment, then AO can, while doing the proceedings, if he gets new information, then he can continue and he can ask on that matter also. But if the assessee, if your assessment has been already concluded, and then now he wants to open the matter, so he has not he has he does not have the extended timeline availability. Okay, because the for AY 1516 the timeline was expired in the March 22. Okay, so I think I have answered your query. Now, Nayan Narayan Nasa has asked that please explain what is IP committee. Sorry, it is not IP committee, it is high pitched assessment committee. Okay, so this is the committee that was formed, and this amendment came in FY. If I'm not wrong, this amendment came in FY 22. Okay, and CBT formed a committee of the higher authorities, that they have to look upon the assessments and the request made by the assessee, that if the assessing officer misuse his power and does not give proper conclusion to the assessees, then assessees are required to apply for the this high pitched high HIGH pitched committee. You can of course search on the Google and you can get the information on under which section, and you have to mail this to email ID, and you will get a reply on that email ID only. Okay, so your answer will be answered there only. So there's a procedure under how much time your request will be accepted, or whether it will be rejected. Okay, so there are also cases that request can be rejected. Okay, so this is what the high pitched committee is. So another question is from the Jitendra Gupta, that if approval under 151 is not proper, then till what time department can rectify the deficiency? So if approval under 151 is not proper, then till what time department can rectify the deficiency? I think answer is invalid. I think the my first response would be, I will like to check on this query, but my first response would be that it will be invalid because he has not properly complied with the provision. But if he has the time, okay, the time will be in which he has to reopen the case, okay, and send you a notice of the 148. Before that, he has to comply with the this requirements. Otherwise, the reopening would be invalid. So Jitendra ji, you have another question here, that that what if the order is passed by the faceless unit and with no proper 151 approval, can it be rectified? I think there are we have tried in many cases to in 148A only, to where we say them that in 148, while replying to the 148, we tell them that uh, it is invalid reopening. Please do not move forward. But still, they move forward and ask for the information, and that's why we have to answer the assessing officer. But yes, it cannot be. I think it cannot be rectified, and that's why this will be an invalid reopening only. Only there are then two remedies available to the office, assessee, that he moves to the petition or to cause the reopening, or after the additions has been made, or the conclusion has been made to the reopening, then high pitched committee can be accessed. Okay, should be approached. Now, Jitendra ji, you have another query. That case pertains to AY 1516, where the notice was under section 148 was issued on the 30th 6th, but then the 148 AB was issued on 26th May 2022, and and 148 has been issued up to the 30th June 2020. So now AY 1516 will go under old provision or the new provision. So yes, so this has to be complied with the old provision, but your case was reopened. The first notice was sent before 30th June, as you have told that. Sorry, let me read the query first. That the case pertains to the AY 1516, where the first notice under section 148 was issued on the 30th June, but then the 148 AB notice was issued on 26th May. and 148D, the final order of the reopening was issued on 30th June 2022. So now your question is whether it is a proper valid reopening or not. So my answer is that yes, it is a proper reopening because the first notice was sent before June 21. As I already first earlier discussed that as per Ashish Agrawal Supreme Court case, up to June 21, if the reopening was done and they got some time extension to give the fresh notices, and up to that fresh notice, up to that time limit, if they have already sent you new notices, then it will be a valid reopening. But if in your case, if he wouldn't have issued notice to you before March 22, okay, the reopening notice under section 149 as per the timeline, okay, if he wouldn't have issued you the first notice before March 22, then the order you have received on the 30th June 2022 would not be appropriate. There's another query from Krishnamurthy ji that if rectification letter is given to just sorry, in one case there is no change in connection for the statement on the relief claimed under DTW provision exceeding PLX, whether the you can refund. So Krishnamurthy ji, your question is in one case there is no change in income or expense, but there is a dispute on relief claimed under section DTW. Okay, and provisions exceeding 50 lakhs, whether AO can reopen the assessment or not. Just a minute. Income chargeable और बाकी I think I would like to answer this of your query in afterwards. You can of course raise your query to the taxman, and tax will forward this to me, and then I will check up on this issue and answer you on this issue. Krishnamurthy ji, of course you can directly mail to me also. My email ID is also available on the screen. Another query from the CA Pratik, that does the time limit under section 149 is same for the NRI? Yes, it is the same for the NRI also. I think we have few queries there. From the Jitendra Gupta, sir, if rectification letter is given to the jurisdictional AO department on the business order passed, till what time rectification is possible? Of course, the rectification, sorry, I read out the loud. If rectification letter is given to the jurisdictional AO department on the faceless order passed, and till what time rectification is possible, the rectification rules applies, provisions applies same as the 4 years from the assessment year. Okay, so rules will be the same. Okay, whether it will be faceless or not. Till what time to be rectification be made by the jurisdiction AO, and would be implication if there is a delayed time period beyond the timeline. Okay, if you have applied for the rectification and AO does not take any AO does not take any action against this, then you, and if the timeline is expired, then you still have the right to move forward and go to the higher authority to direct the AO to comply with his duties. We have another query from CA Pratik, that assessment was opened for the 2015-16, that is after 3 years, proposing adjustment of the 1.5 CR, but in assessment order, addition made only for 25 lakhs. Thus, the proceedings are valid. So, I think CA Pratik, that in your case, okay, after this provisions will apply, and yes, 25 lakhs will be considered only if you have answered these things, if you have uh, uh, already replied your concerns that 20, that your income escapement is less than 25 lakhs in the initial inquiry only, then and you have raised your concerns that earlier that your income sorry, your case should not be reopened because the income escapement is not more than 50 lakhs and it is less than 50 lakhs, then it won't be valid reopening. Okay, and of course you can take up this if you have already submitted this type of grounds to the AO, then you can of course take up this point to the take up this ground to the CIT also and to the high pitched committee also, as I already discussed, and let them know that this type of negligence is being done by the AO. So Jitendra Gupta ji has another query that addition made by the faceless unit A is less than 50 lakhs pertaining to the 148A notice and case. I think I have already answered the same in the Pratik's query. Okay, so these were the queries in the chat box. Now I'll open a few queries in the Q&A section. What is that? So what is the time limit for filing of the return in the response of the order issued under section 148 AD? Earlier it used to be 30 days. Now it is 3 months in the amendment after the amendments. For AY 1617, can officer open reassessment on the 5th April 2023? So answer is that uh, the answer is that he should have sent you the first notice of reopening to intimate you that he is reopening the case. If he has already sent you before March 23, then he is valid. But if the first notice of the reopening is being received by you in April 2023, then it won't be a valid reassessment. Then it won't be a valid reopening. Whether to issue a notice under section 148AB prior approval of the specified authorities required or not. Whether to issue notice under section 148AB prior approval of the specified authorities required or not. Yes, the approval is required. Yes. Bhavik Shah has another whether conducting inquiry under section 148A is compulsory or optional. The inquiry is compulsory. Only yes, the procedure is compulsory. Only there are cases of the search and seizure where it is not being required. Okay, there are few exceptions to the this 148A that in search and seizure and the under if the inquiry is under 132 information is under 132, then AO is not required to follow the procedure. Okay. Bhaviksha, you have some other query that for AY 1617, can assessing officer send a notice to the under 148A on 25th March and specified authority approval is taken on the 11th April 2023. Okay. I think they have internally approved that they have already the assessing officer must have already taken the approval and complied with the case, and because there is no proper timeline whether on what date the approval is required, but before reopening he should intimate you that he has already taken approval to reopen the case. Okay, he has already got the approval of the authority and to reopen the case. So if he has already intimated you, then it is a valid reopening. Dinesh Singhal has query that the AO has recorded the reason. Just a minute. The AO has recorded the reason that the assessee has not shown the capital gain in the ITR file and the case reopened, and assessee, whereas the assessee has already shown the capital gain on the sale of the land in the original ITR, whether it can be said that the AO has not applied his mind while reopening the case, and the case is reopened only on the basis of the information received. Yes, it will depend upon the facts that what and how it is being reported. Of course, Dinesh ji, you must have properly reported the sale and capital gain. But yes, you can say that AO has not properly applied his mind while just because on receiving the information, he should not directly go and ask you to reopen the case. He should have checked the other information available to him, that whether he has already offered these things, this income in the ITR or not, and then he should apply his mind and uh, reopen the case. Yes, that is also a correct stand taken by you, Mr. Dinesh. I think we are now done with the queries that were already uh, okay. Bhavik Shah's query is, can reference number written on the section 148? So can I go forward? So there is one last query from Bhavik Shah, that whether can reference number written on the 148A and notice be different in the order issued under 148A. I think there are case laws for this, Bhavik Shah, which needs to be looked upon. Okay, you can of course put up this query to me and we can discuss. Or either you can of course put up this query to Taxmann and they will forward to us, and I can look up into this query. I think I have answered all the queries.